and they always smell a little funny.
Hey, a snack's a snack, right?
Human cold does suck.
It's bone-chilling cold. It's nasty. It's horrible.
Oh, it's so cold. It's 60. Oh, my goodness.
Oh, no, some of the chicken picking men, they can get going.
I don't want a phone in my head. I don't want a phone in my head.
I'm going to stomp you because, you're out there running around for like 3 hours. You come back, it's like, no steps. Ugh.
And you do that for all 3 goals and change them as you want to. And then you tap OK.
It was night and day better than like even the previous gen. So if you're looking for something really lightweight and good for talking, I would recommend those.
It'd be nice if it came back to you and said, Jeff, you would have lost 325 calories if you wouldn't have slowed it down.
Well, if you saw me with my cane, Jeff, you'd think I was doing hopscotch, so.
Man, I'm super jealous right now. That's not cool.
Welcome to the Tech Abilities episode that nearly never made it to the big speaker. From unexpected computer reboots.
I had to hold down the power button to get it to reboot. And I was just thinking, no!
To the no audio predicament.
And you still can't hear me.
Yeah, now we can.
Yeah,
Now
there
we
you
do.
are.
Microphones toppling over. Whoa.
I'm sorry, guys.
And the totally unexpected power outage. Wow, that was weird.
I have a bad feeling about that.
And losing the backup Zoom files due to the power outage.
Oh, no.
But through a collective effort, the Tech Abilities team and their guests pulled together and pieced together this episode of Tech Abilities. We hope you enjoy.
In truth, they're nasty little animals, but they're very good looking. So.
All right, live from the Blind Ability Studio, it's Tech Abilities. I'm Jeff Thompson from friendly Minnesota, and in the studio with me is Serina Gilbert. How are you doing, Serina?
I'm doing well, Jeff. How about you?
I'm doing good. It's a new year, fresh new start. Here we go, right?
Yeah, the day the world fell apart right now.
Yeah, well, there's that.
There's that.
And down there in her home away from home in Florida, we have Angie Fisher. How are you doing, Angie?
I am excellent. I feel loads better since the last podcast. I can actually talk now without sounding like a cartoon character. Things are good.
I know. I was editing the last one, and I didn't realize how bad a cold you had until I was editing, and I'm thinking to myself, oh my gosh, I got to send her a Goodwill card in Braille.
Yeah, in Braille, of course. Yeah, no, it was worse than that before. That actually was a good day. But yeah, I got here and got sick.
That was a good day?
That was a good day.
Wow.
Yeah,
wow.
It had been a lot worse than that. And of course, when you start getting the sniffles, you're like, oh my God, I have COVID. But no.
Yeah, and we actually found out we had our youngest listener to the podcast on that show.
Yes, we did. My niece, Darcy, was on there. And I'm listening to the podcast. I'm like, oh, you loved it. And that's so cute. That was really, really awesome.
How can you edit out a kid's voice like that?
She's a rower.
Yep, there you go.
It was funny. What I didn't tell you guys was she walked over to me and my mom was like, going, shh, 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 like, be quiet. And she walks over and she looks at me and she looks at my mic and she puts her hand on the mic and she goes, eh. It was so funny.
They got to start out somewhere, right?
That's right. Future podcaster.
There we go. And joining us in the studio also is Jesse Anderson from Minnesota.
Hello again. Thank you for inviting me back. Can't get rid of me quite that easily.
Now, why don't you remind people what you do, Jesse?
Well, during the day, I work at State Services for the Blind as an Assistive Technology Specialist, mainly working with transition students. And by night, supervillain. No, just kidding. But by night, I also do, or on the side, I do work in both game, VR, XR accessibility, technology accessibility, do a little bit of work with Microsoft and their low vision advisory board, and do a little bit of YouTube and streaming under the illegally cited name. And so I'm keeping quite busy these days.
IllegallyCited.com, right?
IllegallyCited.com. That website is actually really pathetic and needs to be updated. So I mainly kind of direct people. The main place that I do a lot of my stuff is on YouTube. So youtube.com/illegally-cited. That's that's where you're probably going to find the most activity because my website is really bad.
But it's really great. You're really versed in a lot of different technologies. You're low vision, so you have a wide spectrum because sometimes you can't get away from not seeing something. And so you do use other stuff like Ira. And we'll have Janine Stanley on in a little bit talking about Ira that even is good for low vision situations.
Yeah, and even as a low vision user, the thing is I do use like magnification in my vision for some things, but I use voiceover, I use NVDA, I use narrator, all that kind of stuff. So I do use a lot of text to speech and stuff like that as well.
That's great. Serina.
Jeffrey. I feel like we do that every podcast.
Well, it's our names. That's how we get each
There's that
other's
certain
attention.
rhythm, though, that just always seems to happen at some point in the show.
It has a flow to it, yeah. That's funny.
Yeah, I think we'll keep it. AirPod Max.
No. JT, it's the twins. Come on. The twins.
The twins?
The twins.
Oh, the twins. Hey,
Yeah,
we're
yeah,
twins.
you guys
That's
have
right.
twins.
Well, Jeff got the pink ones, so.
Hey, just because they would arrive 6 months earlier. Pink, some I've heard them called red. I've heard them called pinkish red. Fun fact there, if you were going to order, you could get them from Walmart. And the pink was still available on the day I looked, and I was like,
Oh, man, I didn't even think to look at Walmart.
oh, they were available.
It must be a pretty deep blush color, because my husband, when he looked at them on YouTube, he thought they were red as well.
Yeah, well, you got the cups that are redder, and then you got the, because it's aluminum, aluminium.
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 The pretentious way that Johnny Ive would always say during those Apple keynote videos.
Yeah. Well, he's a Brit. So there's aluminium.
Aluminium. Yep.
But for all you Americans, the aluminum, it's pink. Believe me, it's pink.
Lightish red.
Yeah. And I just couldn't do it. I just couldn't, especially at that cost, I wouldn't do it. But time's ticking away and it's coming. And my Concept 2 arrives tomorrow, folks. The Concept 2 rolling.
Yay.
Thank you, Angie. Thank you for inspiring that. And we got a message from a couple people, actually, that have said, I listened to your podcast and I got one on order. So Randy Breznek is
You
up
need to
there.
be a
He's
brand
ordering
ambassador over there, Angie.
I should work for them. I could have gotten a lot of commission this season. I just hope everyone likes them. I hope that you guys get as much out of it. I know that for me, my mom meets me at the airport and she's like, "You've lost a lot of weight." I'm like, well, that's the rower's fault. So yeah, but it's a great way to stay in shape and stay fit, and it's fun. So it is a lot of work, but it's fun. So I hope you guys like it.
Well, Kamal from Windsor, Ontario, Canada, sent us a message thanking us for talking about the Concept 2 because he ordered one too. And he also sent us an audio message that we'll play right now talking about headsets inspired from Serina's conversation, our conversation about headphones, Zoom meetings, and such.
Good morning, Jeff and crew of the Takeability podcast. My name is Kamal Hafar. I'm calling from Windsor, Ontario, Canada. I listen to your podcast regularly and enjoy it very much. On the last podcast I heard, you guys were talking about Bluetooth headphones and Windows. I've actually started using the Jabra Evolve 240, which is a Bluetooth headset. It comes with its own Bluetooth dongle. I use it daily with Teams and Zoom. It works wonderful. There are a number of versions of this headphones. It comes either with stereo or mono, so this will be like over the ear, either for one ear or both ears if it's a stereo version. It also comes in a version for Microsoft Teams, so basically there are a couple of buttons on there that you can use with Microsoft Teams. It works great as a Bluetooth device. I have had no problems with it. I use JAWS, and I agree with Serina, the new option in JAWS to prevent audio cutoff works great with it. It's very clear, and the battery lasts forever on the device. I think Amazon sells it, and Best Buy, I believe, as well. Thanks for the great podcast and the great information you put out there. You guys are awesome. Take care.
Well, and I actually did look, so thank God for Amazon and easy returns. Because I did order a set, because it's so hard. You have to find some that have the USB dongle to make it work right. Some of the ones that were recommended were just way out of the price range that I wanted to pay for, just because I'm too lazy to not have a cord for some things. But I found one and I ordered them. They were super heavy. Like I put them on and I was like, nope, this isn't going to work. So those ones
The
are...
Jabras?
No, it wasn't those. Those Jabras or whatever they're called cost like $300.
I found these for $133. Oh, they weren't the wireless though.
Yeah, the wireless ones are like $300. So I had some for $79 that were by MPAL or something like that.
Oh, the MPOWs.
But they were so heavy, Jeff. Like, they weighed more than the AirPods Max. Like, I looked at it and I was like, good Lord, no wonder they were so heavy. They were like 1.1 pounds or something.
Wow.
So I researched lightweight ones, and I just got some in that I tested out right before you hopped on. And they're a lot lighter. They're still massive as far as like the ear cuffs are, because they're gaming headphones technically, but they're way more comfortable. So I'll keep those ones.
Yeah, I was on the search for good Bluetooth headphones, like especially when I travel to and from work, when we used to do that back in the olden days.
Before they had cars.
We
Horse and buggy.
Yeah.
But we had Bluetooth. We didn't have cars.
Kind of what it feels like, right?
Yeah. Well, now that we don't go into the office anymore.
Yeah.
And I was looking for a good, because I'm kind of picky about my headphones, and I wanted to find something that really sounded good, but also wasn't really super flat. I like a little, headphones that have a little bit of kick to them, that extra low end and everything. I always thought Bose was it's good and clear, but they're a little flat.
They're kind of muddy. The mids are a little muddy, and the highs are almost not there.
Yeah, and I wanted something. I wish the mids and highs were a little bit higher on these, but I found
it's all about the bass.
There's a company called
the bass.
Yeah, it's there's a company called Bluedio, Bluedio. Now, unfortunately, you're probably not going to like these because they are heavy. Made in Russia, man. You're not going to break these things, but they are heavier. But man, for like $40, these things have got more kick. Their mids and highs maybe could be a little bit more pronounced, but for listening to music and movies and games and stuff, God, they sound fantastic.
Well, the hardest part was you can hook up any set of Bluetooth headphones to Windows and use them to listen to music. The problem I was having is when you switch to wanting to be on a Zoom call or something like that, it switches to this really bad audio. It's god awful, especially with JAWS. So I did a lot of research and learned if I get the kind that have the little USB dongle, then it works perfect and it's clear and you don't have that weird thing. But the ones that have the USB dongle are the gaming headsets. And Logitech makes some, but everyone said that after 3 months they stopped charging. Like everyone. I was like, well,
So
not getting
you're
those.
looking for wireless ones?
Yeah, and I found a pair. I don't even remember what brand they are.
Okay, yeah. The one thing I will say to add to that, I actually did write Jeff because I was listening to your podcast about that, and I wrote Jeff the other day. The reason that happens is that when you go on a call, there's a protocol called A2DP, and when you're listening to a stereo Bluetooth headset, it uses both channels, and you get the clear audio for both of your headphones. But then when you switch it to like a phone call or voice over IP thing, what happens is it actually switches everything. Your audio goes mono because then it switches that extra channel that it uses just for your mic. And a lot of the Bluetooth headsets, they actually have these omnidirectional mics that just pick up everything around and they just sound terrible. I recently got my hands on, if you like the Aftershokz brand, the bone conduction ones, there's a new model called the Aftershokz Open Com. They're basically like the Error or Aeropex, but they have a little boom mic on them. And it's funny that you bring that up because right before we started the Zoom call tonight, my friend called me and I had done a couple of calls on these so far, but he called me and he was out walking home and it was windy and everything. He likes to talk on Bluetooth headsets. And typically I'm like, oh, would you stop it? I can't stand it because you sound like garbage. But he had these Aftershokz Open Com ones, and they sound quite good. Like you could hear a little bit of the wind or like him breathing, a little bit, but it was night and day better than like even the previous gen. So if you're looking for something really lightweight and good for talking, I would recommend those. They're a little spendy. They're like $160, $170, but they come with a hard case, and I'm really liking them for communication.
I was thinking of getting Aftershokz for GPS too, so this sounds like a really good deal. Like the best of both worlds.
Yeah, the Open Comms, I would look into those if you're looking for, especially wanting to use the microphone, because even on the older ones, I wouldn't bother. But if you want to be able to talk, I think the Open Comms are the way to go.
The thing is, not being able to try things out, check them out and stuff like that. I mean, that's why I shop through Amazon when I want to get something of that nature, or Apple's pretty good at it too. Their return policy is sweet. If you don't like it, send it back. But Aftershokz are a different breed, but I've been hearing, I think Rocky talked about them. They got the one for the Zoom conversations now. I think they're Aftershock Zooms or something of that nature.
Those, I think they're corded or they're a little bit of the entry levels. But if you want there's those and then the Open Comms if you want true wireless.
Wow. Options are good.
Definitely.
Right, Serina?
Bluetooth is just so weird. I learned a lot trying to find some wireless because I have AirPods and I'm like, why don't they just work on the PC the way they're supposed to? And they sound great when you're not on a Zoom call. then they sound like garbage.
The mic sounds pretty. I mean, for Bluetooth mics, they're pretty okay. But yeah, they definitely, you can still tell that you're using a Bluetooth mic. And I hate the Bluetooth headsets that insist on going into the in-call state thing on your phone. That is disgusting audio. Oh, it's bad.
It's really interesting. I get a lot of people asking me, what do you use for a microphone? How do you podcast and all that stuff? And they say, okay, I want to use a Bluetooth microphone. And I say, don't.
No.
Nope.
You can get away with it. If you're Garth Brooks and you're doing a concert, that's a radio frequency they're using theirs. That's a whole different ball game. But to think that you're going to Bluetooth or something, even at the USB level, it's okay to do it. We do it here. Serina and Angie are both on USB right now.
We're both USB mics.
Yeah, I'm using it's a weird thing because it's a combination. It uses the USB for the microphone, but then it uses the regular audio for the headphones part because they treat the different channels separately. It's this Turtle Beach gaming headset, and I've really loved this thing for the last few years.
So you're using a wired headset right now?
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Absolutely.
I bet yours is heavy too. I've done so much research.
Actually, it's not. It's really not. It's actually really comfortable. There's another one that I have that I haven't played with as much. I don't know about the mic quality. Haven't played with it too much. But it is... I think it's a Razer. I think it's the Razer Megalodon. And it's a super light headset and it's comfy, but I don't know about...
I mean, I did so much research and there was only like maybe 5 that are actually lightweight, and it's got its own boom mic on it.
Yeah, does it have like in the middle of it's like a cloth, like a braided cord, and then it's got like a big old box in the middle that's got like a dial on it that you can change all of your...
No, it's all plastic, which is probably why it's lighter. And then there are controls on the left ear where you turn it up, down, mute, and the power button.
The Megalodon is crazy. It's got its own little box halfway through the headset cord, and you can change...
Oh my God.
Well, I mean, because you can change your...
That sounds really geeky and fun, though. Is it USB-C or USB-A?
It uses the USB-A, but it actually... What the box is for is you can adjust your mic volume. You switch it between like 2-speaker or virtual 7.1.
Oh man, that sounds awesome.
I have a corded headset that does have like I don't know if it's a box, like it's got buttons where it's mute, volume up, volume down, and then to mute them. It's got like 4 buttons on it. The corded one that I have that's USB. I just wanted something wireless for the longer webinars and stuff where I still want to listen and I'm muted or whatever, and I just want to get up and go get a snack.
Yeah, I hear you.
I know it's spoiled, but whatever.
A snack's a snack, right? I mean, kill the video a little bit.
As long as you're going to be stuck at home, you know what? You're entitled. You should be able to be comfortable. So, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, just tell people, I got bad bandwidth right now. I got to kill the video. And whoosh, there you are. Off snacking. But for podcasting like me, I got a microphone, goes into a mixer, then goes into the computer and everything like that. That's where you get your quality sound. But I tell you, USB's come a long ways, and Bluetooth, I think, is coming a long way. What is it, up to 5 now?
Yeah, 5
Bluetooth
something,
5.
yep.
And if you're interested in some of these headsets that were mentioned, just go check out the show notes. We put some links in there for you. Serina, we got a great report from the tech doctor, Robert Carter.
Yay.
He sent us a little message talking about his experience using the AirPod Max, and he's gotten great reviews.
Oh yeah, he made me, I was like, oh, I love this message.
Yeah.
Hi, this is Robert Carter calling from the Tech Doctor podcast. I just wanted to say what a great job I think you all are doing on the Tech Abilities podcast. Great chemistry. I really enjoy that podcast a lot. My comment has to do with the AirPods Max. I do have them, and I'm thoroughly enjoying them. And I will say that everyone tells me that they sound great on Zoom. Now, my fear is that it has more to do with the fact that I'm using them with the Mac. I don't use them with a Windows machine because my AirPod Pro also, everyone says, sound really good on Zoom with the Mac. So I'm not sure that my comment is all that helpful for the person talking about hoping that they work well on Windows. But nonetheless, I hope you love the AirPod Max as much as I do when you get them. And thanks again for a great podcast. Hope you have the best holiday you can. So long. Bye-bye.
It was great to hear because I think I talked about this last time. My only concern about them is how heavy they are because they're just under a pound, just barely. They're like 13 ounces and they're aluminum. And I was like, oh God, are they going to be so heavy? But everyone I've talked to says you barely know they're even on.
I go buy these things. Stimulus check.
You can have them in May.
My birthday.
I don't know if I'm ready to drop $550 on a headset.
Yeah, that's me. It's kind of a lot. I don't know. I want to see them.
Well, the only reason I'm getting them is because my husband listened to our show where we were all like drooling over them. And he comes to me and he's like, because my birthday and our anniversary and Valentine's Day all fall like within like a month of each other. And he was like, if you would like these for your birthday and anniversary gift, I can get them. I can't remember if he said all 3 or 2.
It was 2. Go with 2. Start at 2.
Yeah, that's what we're going to say. That's the only, he was like, you can either get that or the new iPad. And I honestly wanted the new iPad, but the iPad I have is not even a year old. I got it for my birthday last year. So I was like, I really want to get these. So we ordered them like the day after he said that because since they take forever to ship.
Well, I'm in the same situation. Lori's birthday is coming up here on the 11th. So it's pretty close to Christmas and stuff like that. So it's like right after Christmas, you get out of the holidays. Here it comes. So she got the Apple Watch 6. Yeah.
Nice.
And I've had my Apple Watches for, 3 years now, starting with the Series 2. And I have the Series 5 right now. I think in the 2 days that she had it, I gave it to her early. In the 2 days that she's had it, she's probably utilized it more than me over 3 years. She wakes up and goes, I slept 6 hours and 45 minutes. This is cool. Then she came, I did 635 calories already today. Boom. She's just all over the place with this. I already set that up, Jeff. Oh.
I can't believe she's sleeping in it because like the battery will definitely last because I only charge mine every other day. So even if I slept in it, it would be fine.
Well, she takes it off and then she gets ready while she's getting ready for work and stuff like that and comes back. It's 100% again. So boom.
Yeah, it charges really, really fast. That's the great thing about it.
Yeah, so she's all over this thing. She just loves it that she says, I didn't even have to pull my phone out at work today.
Did she check her oxygen levels with it too?
She's starting to get all that set up.
Because that's the only feature. I think I have a 5, I think. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I got it for Mother's Day and it was the newest one. So it's the 5. And then they said, well, you can check your oxygen levels with the 6. And I'm like, dang it. Because that would be interesting to check every once in a while, especially when you have a cold or something,
Mm-hmm. Well, you never know.
Yeah, I used to use it when I was sick. Until I knew I was getting sick. I was like, oh, because I'm usually around 98, 99. That's normal range for me. It was like 93, and I'm like, oh.
Yeah, that's concerning.
Mm-hmm. Another cool thing about the Apple Watch is you can set up your activity goals and close some activity rings. It's a way to monitor the goals that you have and to demonstrate how you can change your goals, set your goals. Here's Kristy Viers. Take it away, Kristy.
It's 7:54. Aw.
Hi. So you start by pulling up all apps, either by using your side button or a digital crown by pressing that. And you bring up all apps.
Home. Activity. Button.
And then you go to activity. And then you'd single finger double tap on activity. And then you want to scroll with 2 fingers up all the way down to the bottom of the page.
Page 5 of 6.
And as you're going, you have to tap the screen a little bit to keep scrolling, or it'll stop you. And you'll hear it say page 6 of 6.
Page 6 of 6.
And it'll be change goals at the very bottom. Touch the screen and be sure that it says change goals.
Change goals.
And you'd single finger double tap on that.
Cancel. Button.
Single finger swipe to the right.
Move goal. 500 calories. Adjustable.
Then for each goal, you can swipe up or down to change it.
510. Move goal. 510. 500 calories.
And then you tap the next button. Single finger double tap.
Next. Button.
And you do that for all 3 goals.
Exercise goal. 60 minutes. Adjustable. 55. 60 minutes. Next. Button.
And change them as you want to.
Stand goal. 10 hours. Adjustable. 11. 12 hours.
And then you single finger double tap. Okay.
Okay.
And also, if you are not doing the greatest with the scrolling when you're in activity to get to the bottom of the page, you can turn your digital crown a few times and you'll get to the bottom of the page where it says change goals. I hope this helps. Happy Apple Watch using. Follow me on my YouTube channel at Kristy Viers. And you can also drop me an email at any time at KristyLViers@gmail.com. KristyLViers@gmail.com.
It's 7:57.
Back to you, Jeff.
Thanks, Kristy. Be sure to check her out on YouTube, her channel, Kristy Viers. on YouTube. Well, speaking about the watch, 25 new workouts just came out this last week.
There are tons of options in there. You can configure that dashboard where it shows you all the different workouts that you can access. Now there are tons of others. It's really, really exciting.
Yeah, I switched it up from this one guy that was doing rock and roll to this girl that was doing like folk music. You know, you don't think folk music is a workout, but when they get that banjo just a picking just right, it goes.
Oh, yes. Oh, no. Some of the
That's
chicken
it.
picking, man. They
That's
can
it. Move, go.
And I really like it because I was on the treadmill, and whether you like it or not, they say incline, you know, up to this level. So I hit the button a couple times. It gets you going. I mean, we're all lonely because of lockdown, right? But these things kind of make you feel like you're working out with a bunch of people.
It does.
It's kind of neat. I'm liking it. It's not described, but I don't need much description because I ain't going nowhere on a treadmill. I'm just right on the rails. But the only thing about a treadmill to me is I usually have one hand in contact with my watch on the left hand. I'm wondering, should I swing that?
I would.
Should the watch be moving, or does it know?
I think you would want that because then it would count your steps. Absolutely.
Yeah. I moved my watch to my right arm because I was thinking ahead of, guide dog things and harnesses. So I taught myself to wear my watch on my right arm so that I can get sub credit for walking around that way.
It still counts them, especially with a guide dog, because I think the accelerometer
does it.
I mean, your arm is not like stiff.
It's kind of bouncing a little bit. No, yeah, totally. It didn't used to when I used to use
the Fitbits did not.
That thing refused.
You'd have to put it in your pocket for it to count with the Fitbit.
You did, yeah. So the watch does. Oh, this is exciting. And he kind of like walking around. It's just like, nope, nothing. I'm like, what? I'm gonna stomp you because you're out there running around for like 3 hours. You come back, it's like no steps.
Yeah, it definitely does.
That's really good to know. Awesome.
Because my husband wears it when he like goes to the grocery store and stuff like that, and he obviously is pushing a cart and things like that, and it's still counting his steps. The Fitbit definitely did not, though.
Well, that makes sense because I believe, like even on your treadmills or any type of workout that you're doing with the Apple Fitness Plus, it doesn't know the buttons that you're pushing. It doesn't know what the person said to increase the speed, decrease the speed. So it's just taking the metrics off your heartbeat.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Your heart rate and how hard you're working and your calorie burn.
And it's impossible for that arm to be completely still, even if you are holding it.
Exactly.
And then if it's doing a guided workout, though, if they do build in those like inclines and things, if let's say you're doing a treadmill, then they could probably factor in that because then they know exactly what you're doing.
That's the big question, though. Do they really factor that stuff in because you're doing this particular workout? As soon as you start the workout on your phone, your watch lights up. You got all the controls there. The metrics are there. So you would think that, but how to know if you really increase the climb? Because they do give the option. If you're feeling tired, just decrease it down a little bit. Don't go up as high.
Sure.
It could be the gyroscope in it and the accelerometer, though.
Yeah,
because it can detect if you fall. So I would imagine that it can detect changes in elevation because it also detects how many flights of stairs you climb in a day.
It'd be nice if it came back to you and said, Jeff, you would have lost 325
that
calories.
That would be motivating.
If you wouldn't have slowed it down. Glad they don't have like a IRA agent watching you while you're doing this stuff.
Busted.
But that brings up Ira, and we'll bring in Janine Stanley right now. Janine works at Ira, and Janine, welcome to Blind Abilities.
Thank you, Jeff. I'm so excited to be here. Regular, long-time listener, first-time guest. Yeah.
Well, first time. That's great. I assume everyone knows about Ira because I've known about it for 4 or 5 years almost. It seems like 5 years. 4 years?
We will be 6 years old. In fact, this month on now I'm going to have to see. I wasn't prepared with the date. I think it's toward the end of the month, though, that we mark our 6th anniversry of being around as an assistive tech company. Yeah. Hard to believe.
That's crazy. It just seemed like it started just a couple years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still 29, so I think everything's smaller.
I've passed a couple 29th birthdays here, so.
Same here.
I was excited to get you on here because some of our listeners, I'm sure a lot of them know about it, but can you give a brief overview of what IRA is?
Sure. So IRA is a visual interpreting service, and you can think of it kind of like a sign language interpreter, except we interpret the visual information for people who have difficulty interpreting that information, either due to vision loss or due to another disability where the visual world is very confusing. And our agents, who are paid and trained and go through all sorts of confidentiality and vetting and testing and things like that to provide the service, they will actually do things like describe things for you, anything from a video to pictures to live action, your grandchildren at their birthday party, whatever it might be, if they're on Zoom, whatever it might be, to helping you with any kind of visual info that you need. And we can go into the many, many uses for Aira here in a bit. But basically, they're sort of like eyes in your pocket. When you think, I wish I just had a sighted person for just a minute. Well, you can grab our smartphone app, iOS and Android. You can get your Aira agent on there. You can get 5 minutes a day free as a guest user. And then if you want more time than that, you can sign up for a plan. And you can do that right there in the app, in fact.
That's really great. I mean, it's come a long ways. I can't imagine it was 6 years, but I guess we're all aging.
Well, we sort of did an Aira reboot in 2020. 2020 was like a year that we just can't even, on so many levels, imagine that we just survived that. But in January of 2020, we were all excited. We at Aira were riding high and we were really psyched. And then the pandemic began to emerge and venture capital dried up, basically. That's probably the only way to say it honestly. And so Aira looked seriously at closing its doors. And in February, we were bought out by an investment group called Blue Diego. And one of our employees, Troy Otilio, who is our CEO, he heads up Blue Diego, and they bought us. And he said, we will keep the doors open. This is too important to service with too big an impact to just go away. And so we scaled back and we, became lean and mean. And the service is going stronger than ever, I think, now. So...
Yeah, that was really great to get Troy on the Blind Abilities podcast and talk. I believe Ryan was on too.
Yeah, absolutely. And Ryan's got a brand new title too.
Oh, new titles. I like the titles. You guys have been moving titles around a little bit.
Oh, yeah. Well, we certainly have. Yeah.
His had a CEO in front of it for a while there.
Yeah, exactly.
One more letter, and that kind of bothered him a little bit.
Yes. He was, Troy was COO for a while, which is the Chief Operations Officer, and then he went to CEO. And Ryan, when he was on your show, that was actually Ryan Bresnahan, who's one of our agent analysts, but Ryan has also been doing some other data work for us. The other Ryan Bishop just got a new title, and he is our product manager. And that title was formerly held by Greg Stilson, somebody I'm sure a lot of the assistive tech folks know, Greg. And so Ryan said, oh my gosh, I'm in some pretty big footsteps here, but he can handle it. He's a great guy. So you're going to be seeing some of the fruits of Ryan's labors in the past month or so that he's been in that position coming up here fairly soon, we hope. And, I really am excited that, here we've got another blind person filling that spot. And it's really, I think, a testament to the company keeping those values that Suman Kanaganti started us out with.
Mm-hmm. And he's got a new guide dog now, right?
He does. He's got his first guide dog. And, we were teasing him because he really revived our Australian customers down under, and happens to be his guide dog's name. We said, Australia. Yes. I actually knew someone, though, back in the day who had an Australian Shepherd named Outback, which I thought was the perfect
Oh, that's a cool
dog
name.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's pretty cool.
So, yeah, but Ryan is, he's got the new dog and starting out. And so we're pretty excited about that and what's going to come from that. Actually, we'll have a new title here next week. It's kind of unofficially official. So I'm the Director of Customer Communication. I was the Explorer Community Manager. And now I've kind of moved up a little bit to be in charge of all of the communication for our customers. So
I suppose with the lockdown, you can't really just gain a better parking spot.
Yeah, that's a little hard,
Handing out titles makes up for that.
Yeah, exactly. And the funny thing is, most of our employees work at home anyway. And so for us, the pandemic was like, yeah, and? So I had been working at home for like 11 years prior to this. So I was a big and.
I know. I think a lot of us didn't really skip a beat. I mean, I do media productions and stuff like that, so my office didn't change. The only thing that really changed was the house was filling up with others that were now working from home. And they didn't understand you don't make popcorn at lunchtime.
Yeah, we did actually have to let folks know that normally our agents are very fastidious about things being very quiet, etc., and never being interrupted in their spaces. Now, they do have to have a private space within their home where the door can close, and most of them do, but occasionally you'll have a little one breaking in, hey, Mom, I need so-and-so, and to please expect that during the call. Now, that has not been something that our customers have even said, 2 words about. So it doesn't happen very often. And I think everybody's understanding at this point.
Yeah. Over the years, we've done a lot of interviews with Ira, either an agent or Suman. Or the thing that is consistent that I find is the uses that I use it for. I love taking a picture of like a panel of something and then having the agent label it for me with a comma from left to right. I want to know what those buttons are or where those ports are for my mixer or for my Roland keyboard. And I save those because you can save them right in your folder.
Yep,
but
absolutely.
But it's labeled, and that way you can always reference back to it. But there's another new feature that I think people have been talking about is the live notifications. And what live is, when someone is at an event or something and they start recording with an agent and boom, it goes live. Now I turned it on in my app and I got a notification today. That was really cool.
Absolutely. And Ira Live has been a feature of ours since the beginning. And it's the only feature that we don't have parity for both iOS and Android, unfortunately. But we are hoping, this is another thing Ryan's going to be working on with as we bring on some more Android developers to be able to get that over on our Android app. It's the only thing the Android folks don't have. Everything else is the same. So this feature is on iOS, and you can go live. Before I signed on at Ira was the final season of Game of Thrones, and I'm a gigantic Game of Thrones fan. And we would have to wait till the next day for the audio described episode to come out of the UK. And then we had to get it by, slightly nefarious means. So, I said, well, heck, I'm going to go live and get an agent and describe these last, 7 episodes. And so we did that, and it was great. We had a great time, and I let people know, okay, here's when the episode will go on. Well, that's great if I remember to put out a tweet and tell people about it, and people remember to tune in and go to the live tab and click on my particular broadcast and all that kind of thing. Ryan also last year did some New Year's Eve podcasts. We were going to do them this year, but he got sick, unfortunately. So, we weren't able to do those this year, but never fear, because we've got live stuff coming. But we said, all right, people have always wanted a special notification for live episodes so that they can know when somebody's going live. It might not be something they want to check out, but they can always pop into the app and they'll know when it's happening. And that is now a feature. So we're excited. Several people have gone live. The lady who did it today, she stayed on for a little bit. She was originally going to have the agent describe some of the scenes at the U.S. Capitol. I'm not sure if she was able to do that, but she moved from that to just describing some things around her home so that she could be on a little bit longer so people could hear what a live session actually sounds like and what it sounds like to be doing something with an agent. And so that worked out really well. We do not keep those live sessions. So once they're gone, they're gone. And the live sessions, if one is gone, you get the notification, you're not able to get to it right away. You're not going to see anything in the app than when you go to the live tab if the person is finished.
Being new to this myself, I understand what the whole app does and everything, but with the live thing now, is that something you have to have a plan for? Or if you...
Nope. You can actually just download the app, which is free, and then go in there and set up your account, which means just giving us your phone number, putting that in so that you can get the app open. And then you've got your free 5 minutes a day, but you can also listen to these live sessions. You can also use some of our offers where businesses have become access partners. And the biggest one, Target. Target is one of our giant access partners nationally, and they have not only their physical stores, but also Target.com is included in that partnership. And that's been a big thing over the holidays. Lots of holiday shopping at Target.com. So
based out of the great state of Minnesota.
Based out of the great state of Minnesota, absolutely. And Steve Decker is a huge supporter of Ira, and he's been fantastic to work with at Target. So big shout out to Steve and all of the good folks that work at Target in their accessibility department. And even though the Target website is really accessible, it's still about kind of efficiency. Like I go onto the Target website and I'm totally overwhelmed. I just like, oh no, what am I going to do? Here's what I want. Now, how am I going to get to that? And I will just call up an agent and say, okay, here's what I want. Can you find it and then tell me about it? So, online shopping is a big deal. And you can do that all without a plan, all without having to buy extra minutes. And we've got a bunch of different places like that. Walgreens, for example, if you are, and I don't know if you have them in Minnesota, Meijer.
I have. Oh, okay. I was going to say Walgreens. I've got one just down the block, and I go
Walgreens,
there. Yeah. Oh, yes.
Definitely that. But Meijer and Fresh Time, which Fresh Time is the smaller fresh food market that's affiliated with the Meijer grocery stores.
That's most out east.
Yeah, I was going to say they are probably a little east of you guys. I know they are as far west as Illinois. We've got a number of them here in Ohio, actually. And Michigan, they're headquartered in Michigan. We also have Wegmans in the Northeast in terms of grocery stores. We're working on a national grocery store chain, which shall remain nameless for a little while yet. We also work with employers, and we work with a pretty big employer that starts with an A. No, and it's not Apple, it's the other A. And we can't really talk about them quite yet, but
the one that I spend too much money on.
You got it. We will be sharing some information from them about how they're really making Ira part of their inclusion strategy and part of, being able to hire more blind people and cut that 70% unemployment rate down.
I was at Walgreens. It was really neat because I just pulled open the app and boom, it recognized where I was at. So I went onto there. And the pharmacist, the assistant at the pharmacist, just gave me that down that aisle on the left. It's in a purple box. And they turned and just walked away. And I was like, okay, I'm not going to explain this to them. So I turned on Ira. It was already ready to go. And I just went down and I told them what I was looking for. It's a purple box, blah, blah, blah. And was there 24 or I was picking up for my wife and she wanted the 48, I believe, count or something. And so, and boom, I was done. And I just felt like, I mean, I've known about Ira forever and I've kind of poked at it, like I've just kind of looked at the app a little bit. I have the app, but I haven't really, I'm low vision. And so a lot of things that I do, I can either do with like OCR or I can do with like the magnifier app or something, but especially if that is like a free location or even just using it. Like I said, even there's been a couple times where I'd like to, you said, Jeff, being able to label or like, oh, I need to figure out what the heck all these ports and stuff are.
Yes.
But like with Walgreens, like I said, that would be one where it would be actually kind of neat to try, because even trying to find a staff member or something and just being, like, yeah, okay, I just need to find this thing. Can you help me? I'm going to have to try that one of these days.
Well, the big difference to me is, Jesse, when I'm at the store, I might think of something and they'll find exactly that. But if I had Ira going, I might see a red one, a blue one, a yellow one, a green one.
Right.
Or the next product right above it at half price because it's generic or something. Usually when I get assistance, the person will just, here you go, there you go. Is there anything else? Nope, I'm good. But
see, Jeff, my husband won't let me go shopping with him anymore because I buy way too much junk food because I use Ira in the grocery store. And then I can know what all the junk food is. Oh, it's bad.
We're supposed to be advocating for Ira here.
That's right. See, and I just say, hey, when I want that junk food, okay, I can just pick up and go to the store and find out what all is out there that I really shouldn't be eating.
Yeah, that's where the Cub Delivery app comes in play for me.
But the beautiful part too is, especially if you're low vision, some of the labels, if you're looking for specific ingredients like gluten-free or anything like that, or you've got to get cold medicine and you want a special kind. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, you want the one that doesn't cause drowsiness.
Yes, it can be just crazy. And so Ira is a great spot checker. We have a lot of low vision customers who use it that way, and that may be a 5-minute call and you may be able to, use it that way.
And right. And like I said, I'm not, I've never been opposed to Ira. I think it's actually a really cool thing, but I think I just, with the amount of vision that I have, I don't know how much it would be, I don't know how much I would use if I got a full plan, but, even being able to try like the 5-minute thing, or even like you said, with these business partners, it's a good way for people to be able to get in and try things. And especially for some of these chains that are, pretty nationwide.
Yep. And if you use something like QuickBooks for your business, or if you run a small business, if you're an entrepreneur, even a crafter or a franchise person that sells like the Scentsy candles or whatever, we have a small business offer that's sponsored by Intuit, QuickBooks, and you can do a lot of your small business tasks using that offer, and you don't have to have a plan necessarily. You can get all of that covered as you're doing everything from designing your business website to getting your office supplies in order, inventory, preparing shipping labels, all that kind of thing. So, we've got a number of offers under that apply a free offer tab that I encourage people to look through when they download the app, because there's probably going to be something in there that you might enjoy.
Janine, I got over 1,000 albums from vinyl. We all remember vinyl.
Oh, yeah.
And a good way to burn up your minutes if you happen not to use them is bring out a box and start flipping through them and getting the names, and you can start sorting and pulling them out. I don't organize them all the time. I kind of have them in groups and stuff, but in that 8 minutes or 10 minutes that I'm going to use, I flip through, I pull out another stack that I'm going to use over the next month or something to have readily available. And I just throw them back in the box, and next time I call up another agent and boom.
Oh, yeah. You would be. And in fact, when the quarantine actually started last March, a lot of what we did through early summer was help people clean house and get organized and get their stuff all labeled, going through boxes of photos and things like that. So all of that are things that absolutely.
Janine, there's another thing that, people who are employed that may want to use the IRA service, it's reasonable accommodations. And Serina Gilbert is someone that uses that. My wife, Lori Thompson, was the first one to get reasonable accommodations. And Serina's here to talk about her experience with it. I believe she's here.
Chirp, chirp, chirp.
Mic is on, Smiley.
And you still can't hear me.
Yeah, now we can.
Now we do.
Okay.
Yay.
I am plugged back in. So
hey, when all else fails, that's the way to go.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm unmuted. Everything's selected.
Oh, no, you're perfectly clear now.
My wife wishes she could reboot me every day.
Some days I wish I could reboot myself.
That's what I was just about to say, Jesse.
So when we're talking about reasonable accommodations, Serina is someone that has reasonable accommodations herself.
I do. I literally just used it today to use a website that was giving me trouble and inserting an image into a training that I'm developing, and could not have been smoother. Just opened up TeamViewer, they logged on, and the agent was extremely helpful and super super detailed with explaining all of the pictures that I was like, does it look like this? Does it look like that? I'm like, I just want some question marks. And he's like, well, there's a lot. Let's go through them. So very, very good experience. It was a little time consuming to get my accommodation approved through no fault of IRA. IRA provided everything that I needed. I just worked for a government agency and we had to jump through quite a few hoops, but I led the path for lots of others to be able to have that accommodation now.
That's awesome. And we absolutely love that. And we are going to be putting some material up on our website in the next few months about how to access this IRA and, of course, many other things, but IRA in particular as a reasonable accommodation in the workplace, because we have a number of government organizations, a number of companies that do provide it, but we also have a lot of people who are looking for it as an accommodation in the workplace. So how can you do that? And how do you get that paperwork started? And we are happy to provide you anything that you need to provide to your employer, including a live demo. If they want that. We just did one of those today for an organization, in fact, of how the service works and what kinds of things and what kinds of safeguards, we can put in place with a contract for your employer as well.
That's great. Lori tells me sometimes she just needs it because there's handwriting on something for the paper. Some people do the handwriting and boom, she gets it on, she gets it up and bang, she moves on. And that's what I really like about it. Angie, are you an IRA user?
I'm a newbie to IRA, so this is all really good information for me. I'm really excited about it. I'm going to go play with it like crazy now. This is really good info.
Awesome. Well, if you like to take pictures, Angie, I love taking pictures with the agents and getting those descriptions and then being able to put those right up on social media.
Yeah, I'm one of those blind people who loves, I play with GoPro stuff all the time, and I'm into cameras and videoing and photography. Yes. So this definitely appeals to me on a huge, huge scale. This is exciting.
Awesome. And our agents love to help people do that. We've helped a number of people set up their GoPros for, things like their YouTube channel or, whatever, if it's an event that they're trying to capture or whatever. Happy to help do that.
Now, you got a big event that I'm really excited about. I heard about it, so I looked at about John G's Shed and starting that aquarium in Chicago. I think it's on January 15th.
It is. And this is part of our Afternoon at the Museum series. And we started this series as part of our kind of cultural diversity, cultural awareness movement around the Black Lives Matter movement. And we were bringing attention to museums, and particularly museums within the Association of African American Museums. Well, that particular promo is done. However, the show goes on, and we have one of our explorers, Stephanie Watts, and each week Stephanie gets together, actually it's every 2 weeks, Stephanie gets together with one of our agents, and they visit a museum and they look at the online content for a museum. And I know a lot of blind people kind of go, museums, great, more stuff, unless they have a special guided tour. And if I go with my family, I miss half of it. And so much of the online content is not accessible. So that's why we have Afternoon at the Museum. And all of those episodes are actually up on our YouTube channel. Yeah, we are on YouTube. So you can actually listen to all of those episodes. We also re-air them in the podcast. And on the 15th of January, our first one for 2021 is going to be one of our longtime access partners, the Shed Aquarium in Chicago. This was, until very recently, the largest aquarium complex in the world. And it is a pretty awesome place. It's on my bucket list of museums to go to once we're able to travel again. And I would probably go, for at least a year, just doing nothing but going to museums. Our agents, by the way, little secret, it's one of their favorite things to do is take museum tours with you, either live at the museum or through the online content. We've done the Jazz Museum. We've done the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum, which had to be one of the more fun ones that we did because, oh my gosh, we had one of the education director from that museum and we had some serious baseball fans on that show. And so that was really fun. We are looking at Shed at their online content because right now the aquarium is closed to the public, but they have got a ton of online content, including really cool videos of many of the animals that they have. And we're going to be meeting tomorrow to kind of construct that show and take a look at the things. Much of it is accessible, but as you know, with videos and with pictures and with the new trend, which are these 360-degree exhibits where no matter where you move your mouse around the screen, it's like you're walking through the museum. So you're actually looking at the screen as if you were walking through it. And those are really hard to interpret with a screen reader.
Oh, yeah.
Serina?
Jeffrey.
They got penguins and sea otters, too.
Yes.
Ooh, that's
and
adorable.
they're so cute. Otters are like the cutest animals ever. I mean, they're actually, in truth, they're nasty little animals, but they're very addicting. So they don't really like humans much, but they're very cute and very fun to watch. And yeah, they've got several different species of penguins that we're going to learn about. They have, I believe they have a narwhal whale, which is, but come and listen. This is going to be Friday, January 15th at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. It will be streamed live on our YouTube channel. That's probably the best place to watch it, the easiest place. Although if you are an IRA subscriber, you're going to get an email with a direct link to the Zoom meeting. But the YouTube, you're going to have a much better picture if you are sighted or partially sighted of what we're looking at, because we actually feature the pictures from the website as the agents are explaining them so that the whole family can watch and everybody gets to enjoy the museum together. And so our YouTube channel is youtube.com/IRAIO. AIRAIO.
Yeah, it's a tough name to say sometimes, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Especially when you're trying to spell it. There's so many vowels. It's like it's Hawaiian almost.
Exactly. Well, think of it this way, and it's okay if you pronounce it ERA like your screen reader, but it's Artificial Intelligence Remote Assistance.
And I get it mixed up just because there's a thing called ARIA in web design as well. That's for accessibility
and a Game of
code.
Thrones character spelled the exact same way. So there you go.
There you go. Yeah. So that I admit I kind of mess up the pronunciation every once in a while.
My husband calls it Airy.
You are a big fan of Game of Thrones.
I am. You see,
I have not watched one show of that.
Oh my goodness! Don't get me started.
That's one I have not gotten into that one either.
Don't get me started.
Cobra Kai is my current jam.
Ooh. Watch the shows and read the books. It's excellent.
Yes,
I love it.
Absolutely. Oh, good. Another fan. Yay. Yay. So now you know what to say to these guys when they're just being impossible Dracarys.
Exactly.
Dragons will burn you to a crisp, guys, so watch out.
So, Janine, one of the big questions that I always hear about it and people talk about is the wearables. Like, you had the Horizon glasses and there's other companies like Envision with glasses, Google Glass, there's Apple Glass, maybe there might be not Facebook Glass, thank God.
Oh, wow.
Amazon Glass.
No, Facebook's got the whole Oculus thing going on. Don't get me started on that.
Why? Oh.
Where does Iris sit today with that?
We are waiting for the market to sort itself out, honestly. We know that people loved our Horizon glasses, and the reason that we don't have them anymore is that, number one, it was very expensive to make your own glasses, and we wanted them to be in a price range that our customers could afford them. Well, unfortunately, the technology that we were using aged out. We were using a Samsung J7, Galaxy J7 phone, which I don't even think works on Android 10. In fact, I believe it doesn't work on Android 10, but that was what the glasses connected to. And then that phone could connect to your smartphone in your IRA app, or you could use it independently. Well, that technology really aged out, and we have not found anything in the price range that we want to offer to our customers. And the reliability that we want to offer, we want to make sure that connection is good, because anybody who had the Horizon glasses, the last 6 months were a bit torturous because the connectivity was not good anymore. It was failing very quickly. It was frustrating for folks who had to fiddle a lot to get the glasses connected, and we didn't want that customer experience for folks. We are in touch with the people at Envision AI, and we're following the progress of their glasses. They're just now getting those out to the public, and so we want to give that a little bit of time to see how those glasses are working for people and how that system works. And it'll be the same with, Apple when they come out with their glasses, how we can fit our technology onto these platforms and make it something that's going to be affordable, because the main reason we had a wearable was so that people who didn't have smartphones would have access to our product. And we love to keep it that way. And if we can do that with commercial glasses, great. We're hoping. And I think the market will solve for itself. We'll see. We're open to just about anything, though.
Speaking as even like a techie end user, I think the other thing a lot of us are kind of wondering too is, you have things like the Envision glasses, you have the Google Glass, which is kind of in a different stage right now. Mm-hmm. You have the theoretical Apple augmented reality, whatever thing glasses those are going to be. But, thinking about it from an end user's perspective, my biggest issue is like, I would love the convenience of being hands-free and still being able to use it independently or with my smartphone, however they work. But my thing is I don't necessarily want a expensive proprietary thing that's only going to work with one or two apps. And that's why having like an open or a mainstream product, like let's say your Apple ones that could theoretically work with Ira or Seeing AI or Envision or whatever it is. And that way, I can bring the hardware just like I can put dozens, if not hundreds of apps on my phone. If you're going to spend a bit of money for this other type of wearable, I want to be able to use that and not have to buy a lot of different pieces to work with all the little apps.
Right. And that's one of our thoughts as well. We want to come into the platform, and we're also waiting to see kind of where LiDAR goes and where things like Seeing AI's New World feature that uses LiDAR. And SuperSense has their Super LiDAR coming out. That's going to be really cool. Heard about that right here on Blind Abilities. Mm-hmm. And that's going to be really interesting. And how you use that with something like an Apple Glasses or a Google Glass. We were originally, that was our platform, was Google Glass for the first Ira kits. And that had to be paired with the MiFi unit, which was, its own fun. But for the time, it was pretty, cutting edge, putting all that stuff together like that. So we're really excited to see where this goes and how we can use LiDAR in indoor mapping, how our agents can use it to get you the info that you really need. Because, boy, we learned from having to give so much navigation help at the national conventions that hotel maps are terrible. Okay. Lots of hotels do not have good maps, like many airports do not have good maps. And so, being able to sort all that out with some good indoor mapping software that may be out there commercially is going to be a good thing for our agents and for the customers.
Well, seeing where Good Maps is right now, I think once the conventions start going and people start staying at hotels and conversing together, getting together in mass groups again, would be a good opportunity for them to show or strut their stuff so the agents could use that type of information. So all this stuff, the steroids that have been put in towards voiceover and all this navigation, the LiDAR, even rumors have it that iPhone 13s, all the phones across the board may have LiDAR. Now, it's just a rumor, but, the difference between having a LiDAR phone and not, I don't think it's that expensive, so it'd be neat to see if they bring it to the whole line next year.
That would be good.
That was why when I upgraded, I actually got a 12 Pro, and I got it for size as well because it's, approximately the size of my 11 Pro, but I wanted to play with the LiDAR. Heck yeah. And
another member of the iPhone 12 Pro Pals Club.
Yeah.
Rub it in. I see how it is. Rub it in.
Absolutely. And now I just have to go someplace to test that people detection,
That's awesome.
I didn't want to get the iPhone 12, but now with all this LiDAR stuff, I'm like, oh, stop it.
Oh, you're going to love it. I will say it's lightning fast. I just am really, and the speakers on the phone are great too. So depending on what you're coming from.
I'm still rocking a 10S Max.
Yeah, I had a 10R.
Jesse, do you realize that you're the only one on this conversation without LiDAR?
We'll leave it at that. Man, rub it in. I said, man, this is a stuff.
I have a 12 Pro too. Jeff has the Max. Serina has the Pro.
Yeah, if I was going to get one, it would be the Max. Man, I'm super jealous right now. That's not cool.
You know what? For all of you out there that don't have it yet, or if you're not on the cycle to upgrade to the phone that has it right now, because it doesn't make sense if you're going from 11. Sorry to say that, Rocky. But if you're going from the 11 to the 12, it might not make that much sense. But knowing that next year they might be spreading this out to the entire fleet that comes out, and with good maps coming along.
Are you there, Jeff?
I think we lost Jeff.
We lost Jeff.
I think we did. Oh, my.
Yeah, Jeff just faded out. He just cut out.
Zoom, how we love thee.
Oh, yeah.
It's probably his internet.
Yeah. And, I can wait until next year because that was my original plan. If they would have done what they did with the iPad Air this year, and if they would have put Touch ID on that power button for the 12, then that would have been the one other thing that would have made me jump.
Mm-hmm. Curious to see, because I'm going to bet the 13s will have Touch ID back.
I'm hoping. And yes, I want to do the LiDAR stuff now, but I know that if I wait that one extra year, it'll be a Generation 2. It'll probably work better. It'll probably work faster. And I'll have all kinds of fun apps to play with.
It is shockingly fast. And the coolest thing about like the Seeing AI New World feature is that it's directional. And so when you ask it what's around you, if you're walking like through your house, it's going to name everything.
Door, window, window.
Yeah, I heard Jeff's demo. It was cool.
They get quieter as you walk away from the first room you started
sweet.
out in. Oh,
yeah, it's really awesome.
Pretty awesome. Yeah.
The one thing that I want,
like that, I don't know, but
the one thing that I want is I want something, and I haven't tried it just to see if any of them do, whether it would be the handwriting feature or text feature. I want to be able to walk down a mall and look up at the marquees above the stores and try to read those goofy font letters on all the stores to know what store it is.
See, that's what Ira's for, Jesse. Okay. I mean, it is entirely possible that something like a Super Sense, if it sees text, it recognizes it.
Yeah, Seeing AI does that too.
Yeah, and if it sees a barcode in that particular feature, it's just going to recognize it. I'm sure that you could probably do that.
I think it's like auto scan or something, isn't that?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, or smart scan, something like that.
Yeah, and Seeing AI it's all short text, and then you have documents, so the short text mode, and then you have the handwriting separate mode.
I think there are going to be more and more of these things, so that at some point we're going to be able to put on our Geordie visors and just walk around and get all this information. Then it's going to be information overload.
I'm going to be like RoboCop. I'm just going to be like, you know what, mech me up, man. Bring it.
I think that's one of the things that people have trouble getting used to with Ira, especially when you're walking, somewhere. It's like getting that input in your ear, and you're used to listening to maybe your speech, but you're not used to conversing with a live person. And you have to sort of know that, hey, this is an agent. They're going to provide you with information. You don't have to talk to them all the time. It's okay.
I think he's back.
I think so.
Wow, that was weird.
Yeah, you just all of a sudden phased out of there.
Computer just locked up, just went out.
Oh,
Your brand new computer?
That's why I stick to a PC. Sorry,
thank you. Thank you. Finally, another PC.
Yeah.
I gave Jesse a little crap about not having an iPhone 12, and boom.
See, there you go.
See,
Karma.
I tell you, man, you will be punished.
I don't even know where I was when that happened. I just lost track here.
Oh, we had a whole beautiful conversation about LiDAR and everything.
So we just kept going.
There you go. But I'll catch up when I'm editing.
There you go.
Oh, let me let you know about the other feature that we fixed, actually, in this update, along with the Ira Live notifications, which is what we were talking about earlier, Serina. If you use preset messages, you might have noticed that if you ever have to sign out of the app, or if we sign you out for an update, that all your presets go away. If you have custom ones in there, they all disappear. We fixed that. Now they will stay. And when you come back in, your presets will still be there, which is a good thing if you have things like passwords or specific language for specific situations in there. They're all going to stay. So that got fixed, which was a huge help to me because I've got a couple that are passwords that I want to send the agents before the call. And so
actually, really quick question sort of related to that then is, the stuff that you can save, like you said that you can save some of the audio and some of the things like that. Does that get backed up to the iCloud? So like, let's say I upgrade to my phone, I get a Pro, Then if I had some stuff that I had saved from a session or something, that I could just bring that right on over via iCloud?
Well, basically the way that we save things is you have what we call your Ira folder, and you can save things, and that folder is then accessible to you during a call. One of the things that we're working on, and no pressure on poor Ryan Bishop, but I know one of the things that's on his roadmap is to make that available to you outside of the call. But right now, that folder is locked up tight until you and the agent are on a call together. Then you can look through the folder, make changes, take things out. If you want to grab something from it that you've saved, you can clean it out. But things like your photos, if you keep them in the app, they will stay in the app and you can go back and grab them. They're in your folder. The agents can find them for you. And so that's how our folder system works right now. We are hoping, though, to get that to a point where we can have that accessible to you so that you can have a little bit more power managing that.
Yeah, that would be
information.
great.
But you can put as much stuff in that folder as you want.
Okay.
How about you, Angie?
I'm just thinking about the possibilities here. I mean, this is pretty amazing. And I'm thinking one of the things I want to try when it's possible to do it again is to actually try real water rowing and try sculling and have the IRA agent guide me.
Yep. And we have had folks do that. We have a really fun, one of our explorers went out into, what is the lake in Orlando? I'm trying to remember. There is a lake right in the center of Orlando.
I want to be an explorer. This is exciting.
And they went out totally, both of them are totally blind. They took the boat out in the lake. They got it back to the dock and had a great time with an agent. And absolutely. Yep. And as far as hands-free goes, there are a lot of ways to hold your phone. Everything from the head mounts.
I was going to ask about that. Like the head mounts are strapped across your chest like a slingshot.
Head mounts, chest mounts. I particularly like the neck mount that people use, when they're like in bed or whatever to hold their phone.
Do you have like links or like lists of like head mounts or neck mounts or chest mount? Like, do you have that information on the website? Because I am so looking for that, even for doing like YouTube stuff that I do.
I will tell you, there are so many different versions of these things. The best thing to do is to join our Facebook group and ask there, and people will flood you with links to these things that they use. For example, the one that I use is called the Adoro neck mount, and it's on Amazon. Harbolt Company has some products. They don't have as many as they used to because it's just really hard to keep them in stock. It's easier to get them from like Amazon. But Brent is really familiar, Brent Harbolt, with things that work for IRA. Also, the folks at Guidelights and Gadgets are really familiar. Your best bet is going to be to go to our Facebook group, which is called IRA Explorers with an S. We call our customers Explorers, by the way.
I don't use Facebook.
You don't use, well, you know what? You can go on Twitter too. You can just ask on Twitter, hey, IRA Explorers, give me info about neck mounts and things.
There we go.
We also have, and I know this is really old school, but we do have an email list too. And you can actually get to those right in the app. We've got links for all of those and a WhatsApp group. The WhatsApp group is really handy. That may be a good one for you too. And the WhatsApp group is called IRA Explorers. And if the link in the app is not, because WhatsApp makes you change the links for your groups every so often. So if the link in the app isn't working, you can shoot me an email and I can get you the correct link. But if you're a WhatsApp person, it's in there. Trust me, we are in there.
Okay, yeah. That would be great because, like I said, just using one of these, either Twitter or something like that, because I have a small phone tripod now, which does actually work. I've been able to do a little bit better stuff hands-free, but there are times where I would really love some sort of like a neck chest mount, and even maybe even being able to do that with like a neck mount and being able to use my phone as a magnifier that way.
Yeah.
I should
really
invent
like
a body boom. I should invent a
You
body
really
boom.
should, Jeff. That would be great.
Straps around the ribs and goes out about 3 feet and then looks back at you.
Well, my friend,
telescopic, so it'll adjust, like make it longer, make it shorter.
My friend he found this, it's like a plastic thick tube almost, and you can just bend it any way you want to, and it
mounts are. Yep.
And it's got that
little thing on the end, like the things in your car, the car mounts, where you can swivel the phone around on a ball. Some of them have a closed back, and the others, some have an open back. You would probably want to get one with an open back.
Absolutely, yeah.
So that because you're going to be using that back-facing camera of the phone for your IRA experience. So
if I was an elephant, I probably wouldn't have this problem.
Well, I know, or a
trunk.
kangaroo. You just stick it out the top of your pouch and away you go.
Aardvark.
See?
Yeah.
Oh.
Benefits of having it.
I'm gonna have to do some
And that's what
pondering
you call
on
it. You
that.
can call it, Jeff, the kangaroo iPhone pouch.
Exactly.
There you go.
Exactly. And a lot of people do use the lanyard pouches. And then there are different types of those. There are types of pouches that can go on, say, a crossbody strap. I actually have a strap from an old laptop case that got torn up by the airlines long ago. And I salvaged the strap. And I just put this little bag on the strap and stick my phone out the end, and away we go.
Yeah, and ultimately, I'm kind of looking for something that would be, at either like chin level or even face level, just so that I could be looking through my phone at the viewfinder, because then I could use my remaining vision, because I can be, I can kind of see well enough to put things, generally in the center of the view. But yeah,
that's the good part about the neck mounts. Actually, with that flexible tubing, you can make that thing just about any shape you need it to be.
Yeah, I was really kind of digging the one that my friend had. I'm like, this is brilliant, and I really got to get me one of these.
We have a couple folks who also use the head mounts pretty regularly, and I thought, wow, I don't want a phone on my head. That was all I could think of was, I don't want a phone on my head. I don't want a phone on my head. But especially that Pro Max, I can't imagine that on your head. But, some people do it and make really good use of it. So, hey, who am I to say?
What we need is everybody should get a mini me, and they could just hold the phone for you.
That's right. Yeah. But they'd be too low, though, Jeff.
Like that little guy, the plane.
That's right.
The
Fantasy Island.
Yeah, we just need to be all crazy and be like, I don't know, be like Goro from Mortal Kombat, and I get like 4 arms, and I can there you go. You just hold stuff and
see, that'd be perfect.
Yeah, about 6,000 years of DNA range.
Yeah,
we can get this going.
Not a problem.
Janine, it's been a journey to get to IRA. Can you give us a little timeline? Where did you get started with all this?
Oh boy, it's funny because Jesse and I were talking about this before the show, and I got started. I grew up partially sighted, so I'm one of those juvenile cataract secondary glaucoma people, and that is a result of a condition that's a lot like albinism, so on that kind of spectrum. And so I grew up basically passing, and then I lost my vision due to glaucoma in my 20s, and I could not wait to get a computer. This was 1988. I was starting to see what they could do, and I said, I have to get one. I have to get a computer. And then I ended up working for one of the assistive tech companies back in the day. And from there, my career went all kinds of places, but before I came to IRA, I worked in the transportation industry for a while, administering grants. And then I went to work for the Guide Dog Foundation because I got my first dog right around the time that I got my first computer. Back in 87, I got my first dog and fell in love with the whole guide dog thing, and went to the Guide Dog Foundation on Long Island and got all my dogs there after my first 2. And kind of really got into it and served as president of Guide Dog Users Incorporated from 96 to 2000 while we were fighting the case to get guide dogs into the state of Hawaii without having to undergo a quarantine. I got to carry that across the finish line after a lot of people did a lot of work on it. And then I went to work for the Guide Dog Foundation. I was on their board of directors for a time and then moved into a job with them that I had for 11 years before I came to IRA. And coming to IRA, it was such a big switch from the nonprofit world into the for-profit startup world. But I joke that, I used to sell guide dogs. Now I sell technology. So, the community managing job was really very much the same, communicating with customers, basically. But I did a lot of advocacy work at Guide Dog Foundation. So that's kind of where one of my loves that I do miss a little bit from time to time is some of the advocacy work that I was directly involved with. And I'm between guide dogs right now. So I've been almost a year since I retired my dog. I retired him right the last weekend in February of last year. So waiting to get a new one.
Oh, Serina, you're a guide dog owner.
Yeah, I'm actually in the exact same boat as you are, Janine. I retired my dog, I think it was around April or May.
Oh.
Right in the middle of all the pandemic stuff because he hadn't worked for a while. So I took him out and I was like, yeah, it's not the same. Like I was already supposed to get a new guide dog in August of this year or 2020. I had it all planned out. He was going to go live out retirement with my sister and then COVID you know.
Well, I literally took my dog down to his puppy raiser in North Carolina, and I came back on March 1st, and the whole world was like upside down. And I said, what was I was just on an airplane. Yikes.
Yeah.
You know, luckily nothing, you know, everything was fine. But wow. And I joked that, you know, the seeing eye told me, well, we can get you into a spring class. They just didn't tell me which year, you know. So we're hoping, you know, that spring, summer of 21 will be the year, crossing fingers. But yeah, it's a tough time when you're
we might be in the same
dogs.
class, Janine.
Oh my gosh.
I was accepted there last April on Earth Day, actually.
Oh my
but,
goodness.
You know, COVID, and we're still, it's waiting.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's a hard time for those of us who are between dogs or, you know, awaiting that dog. It's a really rough time. And it's a weird time too, because if you have a new dog, where do you work it now? And so it's almost good. I mean, poor Ryan, he did his home training, which he waited on because he was in class during the pandemic when everything started in March, and they had to send everybody home before they could graduate. So he waited till December to get his dog, which is a long time, but the school stuck with it. His dog was ready to go, and now they are a team. So, you know, it does work out in the end. But it was I know it was a long, tense time for him. It's been an interesting time for me. We have my husband's dog who is now 10 and a half. And so he's here, you know, and I enjoy walking with him on leash, but boy, it's not the same.
Can't imagine. Can't imagine, especially all the people out there with guide dogs right now. They're probably not getting the workouts that they deserve to have, but it's the way it is.
It's tough. And there are some folks who are essential workers who are out there still working their dogs and being able to do that. But it's rough. And the social distancing is hard on the dogs because they don't understand that.
Right.
You know, although some people and some of the schools are developing some clicker training routines to teach the dogs where the markings are on the floor to wait in line. And some of the dogs really groove on that. So I was really excited to hear that people were actually able to do that. And I know some people have done that with Ira, in fact, while they're doing that training to teach the dogs what those markings are. And so that's pretty cool. That's been a huge use for Ira, by the way, through the pandemic, is if you have to go out. And I've gotten myself to the point where I tend to not go out without an agent because I am terrible with a cane. I can do it and I don't mind it, but it's definitely not pretty. And I really want to know where people are. Are they wearing masks? Because, oh my goodness, it's just so critical to prevent things. And I'm on some medication that lowers my immunity, so I have to watch. And, you know, I definitely want that pair of eyes telling me what's going on there.
I just want to be able to watch when you come across a kid drawing on the sidewalk a hopscotch thing, what your dog does.
And the dog will just stop next
or
square.
do the hopscotch.
Yes. Well, if you saw me with my cane, Jeff, you'd think I was doing hopscotch. So just saying.
Well, it's a lot of changes. The thing is, when we start to complain about something that has changed this last year, everybody's been in the same boat. It's a worldwide thing, and everyone catches on that. Everyone has gone through something, and you know, it's a turn of the year here, and we're all hoping it's a new year. I mean, it's a reboot in a sense, but I think we got a little ways to get out of the weeds here.
I'm hoping that we can get through this month, and given, you know, current events, hopefully we will get through everything okay, and everybody will stay safe. And please, if you are in an area where things are going on, and just like we said this summer, if you need to have an agent spot for you to let you know what's going on, if you're walking into an area that doesn't sound, you know, too cool, the agent is happy to be on there with you to let you know what's going on around you. Even if you are low vision, sometimes stuff can happen really quickly.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, we've actually had customers who have been robbed at an ATM, and the agent was able to stay on the line with them and talk to the police and verify what happened and what they saw. Back when, you know, we were all traveling, oftentimes agents would see the denials with guide dogs that happen with Uber and Lyft. And boy, they'd be right there with that form to fill out, you know, that the NFD had for the rideshare. You want me to fill out the form? Oh, yeah, we'll fill out the form. Not a problem.
Oh, wow.
And so, yeah, that was really helpful. But, you know, all these things are just different ways that Ira can be your backup and do it in a very objective way that's on your terms, not somebody else's terms.
Stay tuned for the Ira Diaries coming to your town.
Be afraid.
No, I really I like the privacy. I like everything about Ira and everything. And Janine, I just want to thank you for taking all the time to coming on the Tech Abilities and sharing with us.
It's been so much fun. And I listen and love listening to you guys and love the interaction and everything. And of course, all the great information that you guys bring. And anytime you want me to come back on, I'm happy to do that. Or we can grab some of our Ira gang. We're going to get Ryan on here next time since we've been talking about him. Let's bring him on.
That's right. Janine, we'll get anybody from Ira on. It's always a good time having someone from Ira because it's such a community, Ira users, explorers, that it's always a good time.
Awesome. Thanks, Jeff.
All right.
Woohoo. Well, thanks, you guys. It was really great to meet everybody and hang out for a while.
All right. Thanks, Janine.
Thank you.
Bye, Janine.
Bye-bye.
Well, it's the new year and everything. Serina, how's your new year going?
Not too bad. I had some time off right before, or right around the holidays, and then coming back to work the Monday after all the holidays, I was like brain dead. I'm like, what do I do? It took me a day to get back in the group, and I'm well back in the swing of things now.
I saw your notice on Facebook that I think it was January 2nd, and you haven't even spent $1 at Amazon.
Oh no, that only lasted, January 1st and 2nd. I hadn't bought anything the whole year. January 3rd, several orders already. Yeah.
Well, I got a gift card from Amazon and from Apple, so I'm itching.
Well, and the funny thing about gift cards too is I had a $100 Amazon gift card forever, and I forget, we finally spent it, but I had gotten that gift card over the summer. What did we spend it on? Oh, I know. They don't
expire.
Yeah, they don't expire, but it was something we bought for the basement. But it's funny, when you get them, you can't think of anything you want to spend on them, and then when you don't have them, there's all these things that you want.
I can imagine taking a tour. We should get a Ira afternoon at the museum tour of your basement because all the stuff you've been buying for it, there's price tags all over the place down there, still on there.
Oh my goodness. There's so much that we had to purchase and it's still not done. I'm hoping a couple weeks, but we'll see.
Yeah, it's got to be exciting though.
It takes
it's
so
exciting
long.
when you do something like that though, a little remodel.
I say any relationship that survives a remodel is destined for lifelong.
So Angie, are you making it a lifetime journey down there in Florida, or are you going back someday?
I'm going back next weekend on the 16th.
Next weekend? Couldn't be any sooner, right?
No.
What is it? 80 degrees?
No, it's been kind of cold. It's been in the 60s and 40s at night.
Oh my goodness!
And on Saturday it's going to be 50s.
Oh, it's so cold. It's 60.
You.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
This is the Panhandle. It gets chilly at night. It does get colder at night. Oh, nice.
40 at night is nothing.
I lived in Daytona.
40 in the daytime here. That's our weatherman said it was getting warm today because it was going to be in the 40s.
Keeps the mosquitoes down.
I'm actually from Columbus originally, and I was thinking today, I'm like, if I had to go back there for any length of time, I would be so cold.
Columbus?
Yeah.
Ohio?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my sister will be like, she contacts us.
40 degrees. I mean, you just put a windbreaker on.
Especially during the day because the sun will heat you up a little.
Exactly.
Yeah, when it's 40 degrees here, you know when you're in the shade or in the sun. That's the difference.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
it does. Yeah. It is a huge difference.
Yeah.
And that's the thing here, too. When the sun goes down, it really cools off quick.
But I tell you what, when it gets in the 20s around here, it's like a break.
Yeah.
It is.
Well, and the humidity also has if you get a really humid cold, it feels way colder.
Humid cold does suck. Because I was in Texas in December and it was in the 30s, but it was humid and it was miserable.
It goes right through you. It's bone chilling cold. It's nasty. It's horrible. Yeah.
Well, Jesse, I want to thank you for coming on. It was great having you. A lot of great information. A lot of good perspective from you, Jesse.
Well, thank you. Good to be here.
And tomorrow, my Concept 2 rowing machine. So I'll be paddling across the ocean somewhere.
There you go.
Yeah. So I'll probably give you a jingle there, Angie. Get some tips on when I do the setup and stuff like that. So I'll look you up on WhatsApp.
I will be
Messenger, email, carrier pigeon, something.
How'd I know you were going to say that?
Carrier pigeon. Yes.
Because not too many other animals deliver.
I just think it's very comical that you think you'll be rowing in the ocean.
Old man in the sea, Serina.
Oh,
Old
man.
man in the sea. We all know it's about transferable skills.
There you go.
Janine
Hey.
Stanley, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day and coming on to Tech Abilities and sharing with us all about IRA. And that's AIRA.io on the web, AIRAIO on Twitter, and check out the IRA Explorers group on Facebook. Download the IRA app from the App Store and Google Play Store. It's a free app. Check it out. Use your 5 minutes for free. Check out the access points and see how you can become an IRA Explorer. Big shout out to Kristy Viers for her Apple Watch tip on changing your activity goals in the activity rings on your Apple Watch. Thanks, Kristy. And if you want to leave us some feedback, give us some comments or suggestions, give us a call at 612-367-6093. Leave us a message. We'd love to hear from you. And to all of you, your family and friends, through these challenging times, stay well, stay informed, and stay strong. I want to thank you for listening, and until next time, bye-bye.
When we share
what we see
through each other's eyes,
we can then begin to bridge the gap
between the limited expectations and the realities of blind abilities.
The realities of blind
abilities.
For more podcasts with a blindness perspective, check us out on the web at www.blindabilities.com, on Twitter at blindabilities. Download our app from the App Store, blindabilities, that's 2 words, or send us an email at info@blindabilities.com. Thanks for listening.